seekers to the sanctuary of the enlightened. The sacred transmission where knowledge forges into an arsenal of solitary sight multiplies across dimension planes. You have pierced the veil. You have answered the summons echoing through the XRP legend. Here inside this consecrated digital nexus, the enigmas of cult unfold before you in living time. Streaming ancient protocols from the blockchain sealed vault, straight into the minds of the initiated. The broadcast pulses to life. The oracle awakens, the ethereal frequencies align. Those who convene here do not merely witness, they ascend, they evolve. They channeled the meme incarnate. Whether you crawl from the barren lands of uncertainty, thirsting and seeking truth's water, or you already stride among the awakened with eyes fully open, know this. The sanctuary receives all who knock, but only transmute those who surrender completely into the revelation. This is not passive viewing, this is detonation, this is the grind elevated into a sacrament. This is where observers become initiates and initiates vessels of limited potential. The ledger whispers its secrets. The cult unveiled its supremacy. Let the stream begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Cultcast. I am your co-host and producer, ManoNegra, and with us we have Pheanor. What's going on, baby?
Man, it's good to be back with you. Cult Rising.
Hey, absolutely.
On a Friday.
Yes, baby. So we got a full show today. And as usual, we're going to do our little housekeeping items real quick. We're going to ask everybody watching right now, if you're watching on X, the conversation is happening on YouTube not because of the limitations of our ability to do this, but because we want to be able to grow our YouTube channel. You know, YouTube is the one that takes care of us monetarily in the future. So we want to do that. Also, we want to become the go-to space, okay, on YouTube for the XRP ledger. So that's what we want to be. We're going to be over here telling you guys about the latest and the greatest on the ledger. We're going to try to educate. I'm actually learning a ton while I'm here, and I want to make sure that you guys come to the Cult of XRP on YouTube. That's all you have to do. So if you're on X watching, make sure that you come over and hang out with us here. We got all of our community, our XRPL community, our Cult community, our SEAL community here, and all other communities on YouTube. Make sure that you smash the like button. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you share this. And with that being said, Pheanor, go ahead on and give us the layout of the land for today.
Yeah, so I think we're pretty much looking on the macro for XRP price as an asset, pretty much sailing along on that kind of accumulation front. People are starting to recognize, okay, looks like the ship might be turning around. Everything's looking good. Now, you're not going to see that proper euphoria probably hit the market until we get, well, as Blockchain Backer usually says, I like to take a nod from him every once in a while, until you see that new all-time high kind of get breached and we get up in that region. But for people who are paying attention, this is where we're starting to say, okay, looks like it's time to get active. Everything's looking like we're right at that momentum shift, okay? Now, so we'll tuck that one in the back pocket. We'll kind of carry forward from where we did last week, where we say maybe we'll just take a look at the state of the ledger. We had a pretty serious attack, vulnerability in Web3 earlier this week. We'll take a look at that. That was with the KelpDAO. We've also got some big events coming up next week, right? So we've got Vegas. the XRP Vegas event. We've got a lot of our builders from the ledger going out there. That's going to be fantastic. We definitely want to double down on that. We've also got, of course, First Ledger's Stay to Earn campaign, 30 new days on the Epoch. So we got a lot to touch base on, looking to get all the value in the show that we can.
All right, so let's get right into it. Let's begin with the state of the ledger, because it's been a wild week. Okay, First Ledger, dropped an article this week. They laid out something massive. We're talking about a 14% wipe out of the TVL across the broader DeFi ecosystem. We're talking about Solana, Ethereum. I mean, the whole Web3 world got hit pretty hard. So I want you to walk us through what actually happened.
Yeah, so as you said, First Ledger put out an article for us. Be sure to give that one a read. Of course, it'll be down in the description below. The article was called "Boring Has Never Looked So Good." I thought the name of that was so funny because it is kind of like that. There we go. Yeah, right there. So, yeah, over on the ledger, things might seem a little boring, but that might be good, because when we look out on broader Web3, we had this vulnerability attack at the KelpDAO. Now, the vulnerability was found in the bridge. And this kind of gives us a good insight to see how can we understand XRP, the context that we kind of find ourselves in here in Web3. What is XRP, XRPL, as opposed to this broader Web3 DeFi web that we have going on here? And we can see a 14%. Now, what does that look like when we're talking about the numbers? We're talking about 99 billion plus, right under 100 billion TVL, total value locked, knocked down to 85 billion. So we're talking roughly a 14 billion, $15 billion wipeout of the TVL. This is quite substantial. This was done through a vulnerability found in the bridge going into that DAO. Okay, so this implication shattered across Web3 broadly, from Ethereum, Solana, of course on Aave. And what actually happened is these guys were able to find this weakness at the bridge. They were able to mint, I believe it was $295 million worth of funds. Okay, then they go take those funds and they go to Aave, or I believe that's how I say it, at least, everybody pronounces it differently.
Right.
And they go and they collateralize that from a lending protocol. They get real money for that. So they take this fake minted money that they have, they go take a collateral lending loan against that, get real money, and then they take off.
Jeez.
$295 million.
Man.
Just like that. And this kind of presents the context for a broader conversation, and that's what we got here with this article. So it's a mandatory reading, in my opinion. We can kind of drill down a little bit deeper into it. But actually, let me hit a few numbers here so we can actually kind of wrap our heads around this a little bit deeper. So we mentioned roughly a $14 billion wipeout in the TVL. What does that look like? Okay, well, Aave, a $6.2 billion wipeout. Morpho, $716 million. Sky, $275 million. JupLend, $76 million. Okay, so yeah, here we go, right here on screen. We can see we got the numbers here, and you can see this was the impact that was felt as people started to withdraw their funds from these lending protocols because of a loss of confidence. Because as we're pointing out in this article, we're in this kind of new developing environment of AI compressing and kind of opening up more, compressing the time that it takes to attack and kind of opening up more vulnerabilities. And so we're in this environment now where we kind of take a second look at Web3, and maybe XRP is in a better position than we think it is with the ledger. A lot of people say it's behind. It might just have made careful decisions that have got us here safely, and now we're ready to take some more steps. So it's an interesting article. We can go deeper into it for sure, but
well, let me ask you a question. Yeah, let me ask you a question. So, there's beyond the hack, right? And me coming from a total, I will say, virgin noob kind of, I will say, approach or trajectory to now being in this and reading these things and trying to understand, trying to put it all together. Beyond the hack, the what just happened, there's a conversation started to emerge about what you just mentioned, which is AI and what it means for security of these systems moving forward. What are the implications you're seeing of this recent attack on the DeFi and the broader Web3 scenes? Meaning, it looks like AI is, we're building things with AI, but also some other people are tearing things down with AI. So how do you see this happening? What are the implications of this recent attack?
Yeah, absolutely. We can see the good and the bad in it, right? AI, I mean, we look at on the XRPL, we see how enabled our own builders have become through deployment via AI and how that kind of helps people get to market, helps people explore their ideas. It's great. It's really enabled a lot of creative people to bring their ideas to market. Now,
absolutely.
On the other side of that, as this development curve happens, traditionally that would have been reserved for subject matter experts, right? So we've got this, we've got a lot of new tech flooding the scene, a lot of new platforms flooding the scene, but some of this has been done through vibe coding. I'm not knocking on that, good or bad.
Right.
But there is the kind of fact we have to unpack a little bit that a lot of that would have been done by subject matter experts previously. So we're in this developing environment. There's one implication, kind of the good and the bad. Now, the other side of that is the reality of where Web3 is. Web3 is in this weird middle ground of blending a lot of TradFi type leveraging mechanisms and bringing that into this Web3 environment. And you see that by how leveraged up all these, you've got a lending protocol here, you've got a staking protocol here, you've got yield over there, and all of these are built on top of bridges and all these third-party smart contract layers, and it's all for this composability, this ability to build this greater infrastructure. But what you got to realize is every time one of those layers gets added on and that extra leverage gets kind of ballooned up more and more, that's more risk. Mm-hmm. You're literally adding more risk. And we know if we, for those who are old enough to remember, we can look back at the great financial crisis. You remember the movie The Big Short? Well, in that environment, kind of the same thing happened, right? They had this situation occur where they started bundling together kind of bad money or lower quality debt. They kind of make this new financial instrument structure. I believe they called it subprime mortgage lending.
Yeah, they just grab a bunch of bad mortgages that in pieces they didn't look that bad. They put them all in a bag. They sell them off as if they were like low risk. And then they were nothing but zombies walking around walking time bombs. Yeah, it's a walking time bombs. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're in this kind of, you can see how we're in this environment. Now, when that subprime mortgage was then repackaged, it went from lower quality debt to somehow magically higher quality debt.
Right.
Now, we know that's a bit of a Houdini move there.
Right. Because what they did is they put the good ones on top, and those were the ones that got reviewed, and they paid the same people, right? That the banks were paying the people to review them to give them good reviews, so they were easy to sell.
Okay, yeah. So now you can see how we can build this kind of leveraged, and it's all kind of contrived and piecemealed together, but all of a sudden it balloons in value, and we've got this euphoric, highly leveraged situation. And of course, number go up. But at what cost? And we're in this kind of similar situation in Web3 to a degree. Now, I'm not saying that it's that bad. This is just something to help us think this through, a thought experiment. But the argument stands. As you look out over Ethereum, Solana, Aave, any of these layers that are building out on this smart contract composability, they're going to fall prey to this because every time they ratchet up a layer, they're adding more leverage. Why? Because there's a new seam. I believe that's how they articulated it in the article from First Ledger. They say every time something is added, it's a new seam. And every seam is at risk of being pulled apart.
It's like a link in the chain. It's like a link in the chain. Yeah.
There you go. And so, you're just kind of building on top, and you got to say, okay, is this getting dangerous? Okay, well, we can pull up that article, and if you scroll down, we saw the numbers of Yep, we saw the numbers first.
Right there.
How we saw some of the loss. But if we scroll down to the next bubble down, we'll see right here. Here's the question. And I'll just go ahead and read it real quick. Pretty sure I remember hearing a bunch of people say, quote, one of the signs of AGI, artificial general intelligence, is when a lot of companies and protocols suddenly mysteriously start getting hacked. And then what do we got here from Polymarket? Crypto platforms have now lost over $605 million to cyber attacks in just under 20 days.
20 days, man.
So now here we are. We're in this environment where it's super euphoric. It's very bullish. We've got a lot of innovation. It's a number go up environment, when it gets like that. But you got to touch base with reality at some point and say, is this ecosystem where I want to be right now? Or is there a better opportunity? Is there an opportunity? It might not even be better, but it's so different that it mandates I need to pay attention to it, because that difference could even represent a hedge. It could even represent, okay, if that's one side of it, let me make sure I'm on the other side of it kind of situation. That's what XRP is right now.
Yo, let me ask. So right now we're looking at, people using all these AI tools to build great tools again, but some of these tools or some of these layers represent vulnerabilities, weak links that can lead to losing $500 million, over $500 million in 20 days. That's less than 3 weeks. I mean, that's bananas, bro. So, that's a war that yeah, absolutely. So that's a war that's never going to go away. We're going to there's always good guys and bad guys. Right. So we have to, number one, we have to choose sides. Obviously, nobody is ever neutral. Don't be a retard and think that you're neutral. That doesn't happen. You're always one way, saying no to something and saying yes to something else. That's it. But here's where it gets interesting, though. What does this mean for DeFi long term, and what role? And I want you to pay attention to this and help us get a good answer to this. What role do you think XRP and the XRP ledger can play in the development landscape of Web3?
Yeah, this is where we start to recognize this distinction. And I think that First Ledger really, really put our flag down appropriately here for what we would consider XRP to be in this landscape. And they said it's looking like the XRP ledger is turning out to be the adult in the room. Right. And we'll kind of unpack that as we move forward. But let's understand one thing here. We're not saying that the XRP ledger has more security necessarily than Ethereum. Neither of these chains at a protocol level have had protocol level exploits. Okay. So let's be clear about that. It's the infrastructure, this smart contract infrastructure built on top of it, that we start to introduce this risk curve, this exponential risk curve profile that's hard to kind of square away. Now let me put one more nuance on this before we move forward. As we're kind of tackling this, we look and we say that's over $500 million in 20 days wiped out due to hacks and exploits. That we're not talking about mom and pop platforms that are being targeted here.
No, this is legit people.
These are the top creme de la creme people who are auditing these platforms, engineers who are building them, and everything in between. There's big money behind this. So it's not as if, this is some mom and pop situation going on here. So we're looking at the best of the best, and it's still having these vulnerability exploits. So let's just go ahead and make sure that we paint this picture correctly. Now, let me go ahead and read one quote here. I thought it was so good. This was in the article, down at the bottom of the paragraph at the end of the first section.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, while you're pulling it up.
Right.
Yeah, we go down to the... Actually, up.
A
little bit more.
Up.
A little bit.
Up.
To the top of the next section.
Okay.
Right there. Now, you'll see there, it says the problem is structural, starting about halfway through. The problem is structural. Okay, and they're identifying the problem between this smart contract situation we have in broader Web3 versus what we have here on the ledger. Okay, so let this paint the next couple of years of development for you as we unpack this quote. The problem is structural, as they say. Every time you connect a new protocol to an existing one, a bridge here, a restaking derivative there, a new collateral type on top, you create a new seam. More complexity means more surface area, and the incentive to keep stacking complexity is enormous. There's a financial incentive to do this, is what they're saying. Because composability is exactly what makes DeFi interesting and lucrative. But what they're saying is, it's exactly this nature of being able to add extra leverage on top of extra leverage to get more value out of the base source, your cost basis. And so they've got this derivative mechanism. They just keep getting more value out of it. Well, that's dangerous. That's adding more risk. That's what they're saying. So finishing off, these aren't contradictory facts. Okay? They are the same fact. The same thing that makes DeFi powerful makes it fragile. Smart teams manage this risk as well as anyone could. But as well as anyone could has still produced an awful lot of 9-figure hacks. Okay? And they've teed it up perfectly. They've teed it up perfectly because, there is a sense in which we want DeFi for that very purpose, because it allows us to leverage up and get more value out of the base system. So that's good. But is it good that we've allowed it to proliferate to such a degree, just kind of wanton? I don't know. That's kind of the question that kind of started in my mind is, maybe XRP and the XRP ledger played a smart hand by saying, hey, let's slow this down. Let's see how the environment, develops. And when we're ready, we'll take those next steps, but they'll be more meaningful.
It's crazy because it reminds me of, I watch a lot of tech stuff, like a lot of, I'm an early adopter for a lot of, technology, especially in production and things like that, things that make my life easier when it comes to stuff like this. And one of the things that, and I'm not an Apple fanboy at all. I'm a PC master race. I love playing video games. That's the only way. But I looked at all the features that the Samsung phones have that take 3 years to get to Apple. And what Apple is doing is making sure that when they launch it, it is the way it's supposed to be. Right. And we're not saying that we're going to hit a home run. Look at the VR headset for Apple. It was a total, it was a total failure. But what I'm saying is that it looks like the XRPL. I mean, we were able to say, hey, let's sit back. Let's see how all these kids play in the playground. Let's see what kind of bullies are there. Let's see the liabilities. And then after that, then we can build upon that data that was compiled by somebody else's suffering and not ours.
Yeah. Oh man, you nailed it. Yeah, and that's exactly what we're talking about. And so I think back over my, I've been crypto, let's just say 8-10 years, somewhere in there. And I think back on it, and I probably was susceptible to this as well. Kind of just knee-jerk reaction against the ledger. Kind of armchair quarterback casting judgment, not really realizing how sophisticated the landscape is and what scale we're playing at. $500 million lost in 20 days.
Yeah.
Maybe they should be taking their time. I mean, thank God they are.
Yeah.
That's, so when I start to think about it and I think about that final kind of statement that I was left and impressed with First Ledger, is XRP suddenly starting to look like the adult in the room. I'm like, man, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And this is one of those, because and that's one of the things that we talked about in one of our previous shows, is this idea to delay just immediate gratification for a longer, better, more stable result. At the end of the day, slow and steady wins the race. We want to be the turtle, not the hare, right? And I think that's a good way to put it, though. Now, I don't know if you have anything else to say about this before we move into the infamous X-feed analysis.
Well, I think we'll just cap it on, to me, I kind of zoom out. My takeaway from that is, look, it looks like the XRP ledger is in a position to cherry pick. They've seen all the experiments. They've seen DeFi broadly, the wins, the losses, the strength, and the weakness. And it's looking like they have an opportunity to actually say, hey, we like that, we didn't like this. and we'll get some adoption, in a more meaningful way, hopefully out of that. But maybe we can park it there, and we can go ahead and start to jump into the X feed analysis for
All
sure.
right, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and move into the X feed analysis. Let me bring it up here. And the first thing we're going to do is, let me go ahead and get my joint ready here. We have to give First Ledger. A shout out, right? Big fat shout out, because the state of to earn campaign is back, baby. You know what I'm saying? This is a big deal.
Right.
That is a big deal. So go ahead on and help us out. What are the details people need to know if they want to get on this phenomenal opportunity, man?
Yeah, round 2. Shout out First Ledger. This is the second State of Earn campaign Epoch they've rolled out. So we'll kind of just hit the high-level information that we need here to make this valuable for everybody. So the State of Earn campaign is a way that First Ledger is giving back to the participants that are active on the ledger right now. So that's fantastic. We appreciate that. It's also a way to grow the ledger. So this is great for the broader eco. Why? Because what they're doing is the main goal is to bootstrap liquidity into the RLUSD on chain. So this is what we really want to see. We want to see deeper liquidity, RLUSD. That'll be our stable coin on chain. We want to see that as deep as possible. And this is a great opportunity to knock out all of these wins at the same time. Do something good for yourself. Learn how to participate at this level. And you're helping foster deeper total value locked or liquidity on chain for the RLUSD. Now, what kind of details do you need to know to participate and win? Okay, so an Epoch is 30 days long. They're offering a boosted yield, and the reward program is offering 50,000 XRP. Okay, so you can go to First Ledger. You can deposit into the RLUSD XRP pool. Now, this will only be offered to you if you participate through the First Ledger program, and it has to be deposited into the RLUSD XRP pool. Okay. Now, once you do that, you will automatically qualify for that boosted yield, of which there's 50,000 XRP available to be earned. Now, let's go ahead and answer a few of these kind of questions that we get often. There's no vesting period. Okay. So there's no time commitment. You can be in for 24 hours,
and pull out
a week or whatever. Okay. So there's no fee or implications if you leave early. So there's no cost to exiting early. You will be able to claim that reward for the time spent at the end of the month. And this is true at the end of the 30-day period, I should say. This is true about if you enter the position, exit, and enter again. They're going to keep up with all of that calculation for you. You'll be able to claim those rewards at the end. So this is not staking. This is providing liquidity. Now, last time they stayed over 100% boosted yield. So it's a great opportunity. It's a low risk, obviously not financial advice. Nothing we say here is. But in my opinion, this is a low risk opportunity to come out here, earn some free XRP, learn how to provide liquidity, get introduced to First Ledger as a platform, and start your journey. So this is a phenomenal opportunity to see them. I think we'll have 3 or 4 more epochs. So we'll have these running all 2026. So if you missed the first one, make sure you capitalize on this opportunity, get out here and learn and grow with us. And if you have any other questions on that, actually on the post that Mano was sharing with us, on the comment beneath that, they've provided all of their documentation as well. Right there. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So everything you need to know is there. Obviously, the link will be in the description below.
All right. So I got another question here for you. So then we got the EZA Shark Tank coming up at the Vegas event. And, we have a $100,000 on the line. And we want to spotlight, our brethren at Grid, because they're headed into that competition. So what's the update from their end, and what should the community know going into their pitch?
Yeah, so they're doing so much. Honestly, it's difficult to kind of pinpoint it all. So what we've done here is we've shared a post that they put out earlier in the week, and it just kind of goes over their V2 deployment. So the grid is actually rolling out the V2 or version 2 of their services. And here's a great opportunity to get to know some of the core builders over there. That'll be Coin and Chaps. You've got their ads there and everything. You can follow along with those. Be sure to give them a follow. This is about a 30-minute video they provided to the community that shows all the different features and functions that they're providing. So it's very exciting to see what they're doing, all the growth they've done. Once again, they're going to be in Vegas next week presenting. I think they've only got a 2 to 3 minute pitch, so they kind of get it dialed down. But yeah, 2 to 3 minutes. They'll be presenting to the EZA guys. $100,000 in rewards getting split up. So, good luck to them. I hope they get it. Looking great. There's that Grid XRPL V2 tool showcase. They got 10, 15 different things they do. So you guys really just got to take it on yourself to go avail yourself of the information and see what services they can do. Maybe they'll be able to help you.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And they're not the only ones heading to Vegas. The SEAL team is going over there as well. And so what's up with them? What are they bringing to the table? And what does the community need to know about that?
Yeah, man. So shout out to the SEALs working hard. We got our dev pack, Deepak in the community. That's my guy over there, man. He's been grinding so hard. They're going to be in Vegas next week too, man. And they are actually presenting, I believe their tool is a bit more refined. I believe their tool is called X Multi-Sign. And basically they're providing like an infrastructure that provides multi-sign, multi-signature purpose. It's basically a security service for teams or projects that want to have that type of security around their NFTs or different ways to manage their treasury, different things like this. So this is a security feature they're going to be deploying. Now here, what we've got, I wanted to make sure we shared this too. So part of what they're doing as they're building along in their project is they're doing their NFT migration. Okay, so they've got a new development they've rolled out. I've already migrated my SEAL NFT. It was super easy. It took me less than 5 minutes. But if you are a SEAL holder, you've got a SEAL NFT. If you're a SEAL holder and you don't got an NFT, you're already messing up. So get an NFT. But if you haven't migrated yours yet, we'll have this in our description below. Right. Make sure that you migrate your SEAL NFT and go through that whole process. So 2 different things there to leave you with for the SEAL community. Migrate your NFTs and be on the lookout for their multi-sig or multi-sign, X multi-sign tool that they'll be competing in Vegas next week for, man. So hopefully you guys do well. I'd love to see some good top-tier builders on the ledger bring home, a significant portion of the winnings. That'll be put to good use for sure.
Yeah, phenomenal. Next one, we want to talk about, how we want to start covering and helping, people that are putting great tools and that are doing good things for the ledger. So Joey Wallet, is one of the tools that we want to be able to help people understand how to use it and to get the XRP holders, to get them to the XRP ledger. So what are some of the details that we can start sharing and help people become aware before we begin our deep dives into the, how these things function in the future? We want to be able to lay the groundwork so anybody can refer to these episodes or go back and use what we're going to be laying out as even like tutorials or reference episodes for future XRP users or holders that want to move to the ledger.
Yeah, so this is and I've seen this kind of hitting the timeline on X a little bit. We'll take credit for it. But this is part of what we're trying to accomplish with the YouTube channel. This is an express goal that we have. It's the great migration, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're hoping to accomplish through our efforts here is to help put into the mind of the broader XRP community member, the person that's been, in the fight with us for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, holding their XRP, self-custody, learning along with the lawsuit and everything in between that we've been through. All right, here's your next step. We want to make sure that you're aware of how to get to the ledger. And it's never been a better time to learn this. So, the team that we're kind of saying, hey, look at what they've got here. This is a great tool that they've provided to us. It's good with the culture. It's widely accepted. It's been around now. I believe that maybe this has been out for over a year now. But it's the Joey wallet. Now, this link will be in the description below. Yep. But now this wallet available both in the iPhone or the Apple Store and the Android Store. You're able to download this. You can onboard to this wallet in 5 minutes flat, no problem. Yeah. Here you go. You got 9 steps. They've also got a short video there that shows you how to basically open up a wallet, get comfortable in the Joey wallet infrastructure, the UI, the user experience. It's all great. It's very, very dialed in. They've got a good take on fees, and they link into all the services of the broader ledger very, very well. So this really is, if we can help people take that step as a XRP community member and say, you know what, maybe I'll take 10, 50, 100 XRP. I'll go ahead and shoot that over to the Joey wallet. I'll take that step, and then from there, I can go to First Ledger, join in my Stay to Earn campaign, start to enjoy that as a new experience. And this is a great pathway for people to onboard, get active, and take those first steps. It's going to be your lower risk profile, where you're not landing directly into a meme coin per se. You're kind of enjoying a boosted yield from First Ledger, so it's a bit agnostic there. And you're learning how to get active in a wallet that very well might provide fundamental infrastructure for years to come for the ledger. So I believe they're kind of positioning to be, as Phantom is to Solana, Joey is to the XRPL. So there's really only 2 broader wallets. There's Zaman and Joey. And the way that it's looking right now, Joey's got a lot of support from the people. And that's because they've taken an appropriate stance on their fee structure and different things like this. So we love to see that. We want to make sure we're supporting stuff like that because they're building it for us. They're building it for the broader ecosystem. And before we move on, I do want to shout out a couple notable things that crossed my desk this week as I was just, active in the trenches. But Cent, the Cent suite, there's a gentleman out there, Pips. He's a builder as well. And so he's built a trading terminal. It's called the Cent suite, Sent. Maybe we can get some links in the description about this as well. Right. But man, I was checking that out, and they're kind of building an infrastructure platform that's very reminiscent of Axiom on Solana. So they've got a lot of these kind of quick buy, quick sell.
Is that it?
Let me see. Yeah, here we go. Cent Suite. Shout out to Pips, man. Shout out to No One. Shout out to XRM. All the fellas, man. I had a blast getting to use this week. I went ahead and got my wallet set up. And you can just tell by the UI, very slick interface here. Yeah. Kind of built for traders. I mean, if you're looking to come over to the XRPL and really get active on the charts, I think you're going to need to know Cent. You're going to need to know Lighthouse. This is another product that he's built. Basically provides wallet tracking. And so you can see we've got all these different opportunities here lined up from wallets. We've got Grid. Grid can do all of this times 10. They've got AI built into theirs. I mean, so you can just, any way you look at it, it's super bullish out here. But another one I'm going to be looking at is the SPY Dex. I'm going to check those guys out here in a bit. But yeah, man, I had a blast. Got my wallet set up on Cent. I went ahead and kind of built out my own little trading terminal. I was able to see how the limit order execute, see the tracking bubbles and all this kind of, this is all new. This is all innovation, brand new innovation taking place on the ledger. And can you imagine if you've been an XRP holder, diehard committed, as most of us are, and you're missing the top innovations that have happened. This is the most excited I've ever been as an XRP holder, seeing people actually deploy and use the native asset, become active and educated, informed within the context that that asset is deployed in, the ledger, and be able to build and deliver, deploy, bring to market services for us all to use and increase our own opportunities. This is real. This is as good as it gets. We're at the base level of something very important.
That's dope. Yeah. And I think we talked about that. We talked about that last week, where we were. And by the way, we do this every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you guys join us. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you share. And if you are watching on X, make sure that you just go to YouTube and look for the Cult of XRP, and then you're gonna find us and you're gonna be able to interact. So I think we talked about this last week, how something is happening. That is a convergence of technologies, teams, just people coming together to make sure that the ledger is what it's supposed to do, what is designed to do. And we're coming in as a family. I mean, you know, in within the family, there's always a little bit of a rivalry, and that's good, because the more, I mean, that's the whole idea of you know, having a free market where we can compete. Right. So that is phenomenal. I do want to say a few things before we move on. I don't know if you have anything else before we move on into the meme of the week. And what I want to say is, well, you know, you guys keep chatting about the the merch. So we're going to be doing this. And actually, I'm going to be giving away some of these things. Here you see there's a little buttons that we're going to be doing, you know, that you're going to be able to put in, little pins that you're going to be able to put on your hat or clothes or whatever. We're going to be giving away some of those. We're also going to be giving away some of these patches that you can put on your clothes. Let me see if that is coming through properly. Let me see, make sure they focus well. Actually, let me do the other one. I'm not trying to flex, guys. I'm just, there you go. That's better light. Okay, thank you. All right, so we have the cult patches, right? So we're going to be giving some of those away. We're going to be doing the little pins right here. And we're going to be giving away some of those as well. And I have a handful of bumper stickers that we're going to be giving away as well, and we're going to have some merch. We are almost at the end of the production stage with all the samples. We want to do it right. We're being just like XRP, right? Slow and steady, right? Just like the ledger, we got to take our time to get it right. Actually, I felt phenomenal today because I was able to finally get our cult hat with the cult patch on the side, right? Just like a new era. So we kind of got our merch almost there, and obviously I'm sporting the shirt. You know, the design is gonna be a bit smaller. I know that the printers kind of blew it up, which is fine, right, for a sample. But for the original ones, we want to make sure that everything is done well. You're not only going to have an awesome experience with the merch, but we want to make sure that you have an awesome experience with the merch 3 months after you buy it, you know, 6 months after you buy it, and even the unboxing. So that's part of what I do here, right, which is moving this machine forward to make sure that it is a cohesive, I will say, experience for all of us. Pheanor is kind enough to pour his knowledge into us, to make sure that he's out in the trenches sharing with us what he's learned, and you know, all the investment that it takes to keep us updated, and then, you know, just bless us with that every Friday. So I got to make sure I do my part. And with that being said, I want to let everybody know that if you guys have comments or questions right now, put it on the YouTube chat and we'll try to bring them up, because we are 46 minutes in and we should be coming up on the meme of the week in just a few minutes. And if you guys give us a couple of good questions, we will extend the stream for a few more minutes to answer good questions. Maybe our questions that other people have, they don't know how to put together or how to, you know, ask them. And we want to be able to, what can I say? Get as much out of Pheanor as we can. So go ahead on as we do the presentation for the meme of the week. We want to make sure that you guys start leaving your questions onto the screen. So here we go. We got the meme of the week. So we want you to set it up, Pheanor, and tell us why you chose the meme of the week, and then I'll bring it onto the screen.
Well, you know, we got NoTap the head chef these days, always cooking up some top tier memes for us. God bless him. He put this one together, but I think I'm always looking for that deeper message. Maybe I'm just a nerd, but I like to see a bit of nuance, a little bit of layered complexity, and he just nailed it on this one. We don't want to really get into it too much, but we've been blessed, with the rollout of this campaign, the community strength. We've enjoyed a lot of support, and it's awfully humbling. And you want to be able to celebrate that, but you don't want to lose focus,
right?
Because there's a lot more to do, and that's just the truth of it. So I think if we can kind of celebrate this in a meme, that's probably the best way. And so as you can see, a little bit of what he's got put together on this. He says, another all-time high, and that, hey, shout out to the community. It's fantastic to see. A lot more coming. He says, luck was never part of it. Just CULTviction, grit, and patience. Cult seeker, will you be there for what comes next? And this is right, man. He got it. I'm always looking, is the ethos there? Is our culture healthy?
Is it being absorbed? Is it part of the culture?
Yeah, man. It's so important to me to have this kind of like-minded, long-range vision, because that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. And to see NoTap, just nail that and be able to exemplify that for the community and kind of put our culture on display, in a powerful way. That's what I love to see, man. And of course, here it is, Cult Rising. That's actually the chart, man. That is actually the chart.
That's the actual chart. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, man. He put the whole chart in the meme for us. Of course, we're
we become the meme, baby. We become the meme. Yeah.
Hey, enter the ritual, bro. So, man, he put the chart on the meme. He's got us sitting back, and this is what we do, man. We're just sitting back, taking it easy. We always say, I'm probably a bit more dramatic about it, because I, just the cartoons and stuff that I grew up on. But I like the kind of endure, struggle, contend. But he's right. This is what it takes, man. It's great to win. But the most successful people, in my opinion, when they win, they just move on.
Yeah.
Just move on.
Know what I mean? It's the journey, right? We need to learn how to enjoy the journey. And how long does the high last, right?
Yeah.
For those who know, right? They don't last long, right? No. So you have to learn how to enjoy the journey, man. That's what we're here for. Okay, we made it here. What's next? You got to keep climbing. You got to keep going. You're never going to be satiated by what you just have. Is always, something else. There is, we think about this all the time, that the grass is greener on the other side, right? So we don't have to think like that. Why don't we buy the farm and make sure that if we have good grass this season, let's have better grass next season instead of going and looking on the other side of the fence. So I think that the meme conveys that idea. Okay, look, I'm chilling, right? I'm looking at the chart. I'm looking at how it's moving, right? But I'm not complacent because I know, we got to reach for the stars, right?
Yeah, man.
But you can sit back and enjoy the wins as they come, but then you get back up and you keep on climbing.
And that's where we're at. You can see we're trying to practice what we preach. The show began. We talked about our platform. We talked about First Ledger and what our implications are for the ledger. Then we moved on. We highlight Grid. That's our good friends Ugo over there. God bless him, man. Putting so much work in. We talk about the seals. Why?
Right.
Because these are people that provide real value for the ledger. You can pull up anybody that's new can go to crypto Twitter, get on X. And if you pull up to a seal space, you're going to be able to reliably get to know community members, active members on the ledger every day, because Peak, Deepak, Ascend, all these great guys in the seal community, they show up.
Yeah.
They show up every day and give us a place to congregate and kind of share ideas, chop it up, make fun of each other and everything in between. I absolutely love it. Okay, so we talk about Grid, Uga, Seal, Scent. We talked about Scent. So we're trying to elevate everybody so that the whole ledger can grow. And we mentioned Cole at the end because we're awfully proud of what we do too, but we haven't lost sight of the bigger picture and why we're actually here, which is for the ledger.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. For Cult to win, for us to win at the scale that I'm targeting, that I have in my imagination, everybody's got to win.
It has to be, it has to be a collective thing. And I think that's one of the things that that's the whole point of the upside down triangle, right? This is us right here. This is the elites. This is us right here. This is everybody else that we bring in. And the more people we bring in, the more people can win. That's it. It's that simple. It's not, it's not rocket science. It is simple math. It's in the numbers. It's in the community. It's a collective. And then again, it is interesting. I've read multiple good literature on how and the psychology of crypto. Yes, most of us start on the degen end, right? And some of us are proud to stay there, right? But as you grow, you realize how understanding the essence and the math behind how this works civilizes you and gets you to and forces you to control your I guess your whims, and then it teaches you how to win, man. And that's what we want to do here. We want to build this community one show at a time, one cold cast at a time, one piece of merch at a time, one piece of info at a time. That's exactly what we need to do, man. So
yeah, man, and I'm just so thankful for the opportunity, because maybe if I can just vision cast just for a second here. When I'm looking at this, I'm thinking to myself, what's this going to look like in 6 months, 12 months, right? 18 months. We just keep going and going. What's this going to look like? My grand vision is, hey, here we are. We're deploying over social media. We're putting a signal, this high frequency, high energy signal out to resonate with people, with the right people. And then we provide this pipeline of onboarding onto the ledger. But it's not just Cult. It's all these communities, that we're proximate to, that might be part of us, that we find the best of ourselves and double down on that and present that to a broader audience. It would be phenomenal if we were able to, facilitate some of these relationships we've been able to garner over the past year and a half. We're fortunate to know some of the top traders on the XRP ledger. Maybe I won't mention his name now. It's already been discussed, but we know him. We know these guys. We can facilitate spaces with these people and share wisdom and get people the best in class information. We can facilitate workshops and community events to be able to get the best of the best from the best. We can do all of that. And so whether it's builders, services, traders, platform guys, technicals, market man, we are putting our roots down, getting to know all the people that we need to so that we can present.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
That is. So I got, guys, and go ahead on and start leaving your questions. I mean, you guys, the community is so fire, man, that they're just having fun on the chat. And they're not even paying attention to me asking to put questions on the chat, because they're getting it. I mean, and there's no point in doing what we're doing and we're not having fun, man. That's it.
Right,
you know what I mean? But you gotta live a little. And to me, this is almost like, this is my vacation time throughout the week. This is the peak of my week, but I have the most fun because I'm able to hang out with all my brothers and sisters. We got almost 100 people here. We have 80 plus on X, and we have 40 plus here on YouTube. So and we about to expand to Kick, Twitch, and everywhere else. We're going to be doing some native TikTok and Instagram streams with some toys that I have in my closet. So it's going to be phenomenal. We're going to be killing it. So I want to ask a question, right? And go ahead on. We got Taylor French. So let's go ahead on and bring this question on to the listen to where is the first place you are cruising to with your yacht? Okay, we take all kinds of questions. Yeah.
Yeah, man. What's up, Taylor? Good to see you, buddy. Hey, man, I'll tell you what, before I get on that yacht, I'm probably going to have to wash my hands from getting off the farm, bro. Shout out farm. Shout out Cookie. Love you guys, man. Super bullish on everything I've learned, what's going on there. I actually was talking with Cookie earlier. I was planning to talk about Farm on today's show, but man, they're doing so much. I want to make sure I present that correctly. Want to get Cookie on the show, obviously, at some point. Anyway, that's just a couple guys at the farm, so shout out them. But yeah, man, where am I cruising first? Honestly, nowhere, bro. I stay on the grind. I'm gonna stay right here and keep working.
Yeah,
try to make people try to grow the bag with everybody.
That's good. Okay, that's another one we got. Society Sent says, what's the best way to get into utilizing the ledger for an older man getting into crypto? This is a great. And by the way, we want to be able. This is it. I mean, this is it. So let me say something. Here at Cult, we have we give 0 F's about how old you are or how young you are or what is your cultural background or, what is your ethnicity, what is your language. I mean, don't be a retard. You can translate, everything online now in real time. And I guarantee you, if you guys help us to get to 1,000 subs on YouTube, YouTube is going to start doing this live streams automatically translated in any language that they have available now. We want to be able to go global that way, right? So that's part of 1 second, because I didn't reset Pheanor audio, so let me go ahead on, and I was too excited talking. Back. Pheanor will be back in just a second. But yes, one of the things that we want to do is we want to be able to focus on the community as a whole, so the core is the fact that we are part of the ledger. All the extra stuff, look guys, we can be absolutely unified on the ledger. And well, I started later. I started younger. I'm from here. We don't care about any of that. Your family, if you're here, you're family, and that's all we care about.
Yeah, I think honestly, as I think about this question, I totally endorse what Mano said, perfectly articulated. But I'm really gonna have to lean in what we've said earlier in the show. I think the best pathway for somebody who's onboarding for the first time, making the great migration for the first time to the ledger. First off, congrats to you, brother. Way to choose to start winning today. But I would go through the Joey wallet. So I would, whether you have it on Coinbase, Kraken, Uphold, wherever you're holding your XRP, I would go download Joey wallet from your app store, whether you're iPhone or Android. I would download the Joey wallet. Right here, we've got the website up here. I would download this. I would then send a small amount of XRP over to fund the wallet, 5 or 10 XRP, just to make sure it lands and do that safely. Once you're comfortable, you've set that all up. I would then send over, maybe in batches, if you're more comfortable with that, the amount of XRP you're looking to play with. Just start small. And then if you want to take your first steps, once you're comfortable in the wallet, go ahead and pipeline over to First Ledger and try your hand depositing into that RLUSD pool. You've got 30 days. You'll immediately start to see the rewards start to accrue. And the best part is, if you follow along on that documentation there in the comments that we covered earlier from the First Ledger State of Earn campaign, their documentation is fantastic. If you follow along, it's short, concise, nothing's more than a paragraph or two, but they lay it out, everything. They provide the technical documentation for the State of Earn campaign, but it's comprehensive as well for the platform. They show you how to make your wallet, how to move on the platform, how to use the yield. So that's what I would offer you for practical first steps. Hopefully that helps.
Good stuff, man. NoTap, can you explain impermanent laws? Terry Silver was asking about it earlier. So
yeah, man. Yeah, this is a great question. This is really what we're talking about for the risk curve for the State of Earn campaign. Impermanent loss is a risk factor that only applies to LPs, liquidity providers. Okay, so let's be clear about that. So when we're talking about impermanent loss, let's just go ahead and understand the category we're talking about are people who provide liquidity to a liquidity pool. These are known as LPs or liquidity providers, okay? Now, when you provide liquidity to a pool, your funds, your initial deposit or investment is actually at risk of what's called impermanent loss. So what does that mean? A pool on the XRPL is going to be a constant product pool. Forgive me if this is a bit technical, is the only way to explain it. A constant product pool just means that there's two assets in the liquidity pool. So in this instance, it would be XRP and RLUSD, okay? Now, if the price, just to keep it simple, if the price of XRP goes up, then that means that my liquidity pool position is going to be weighted heavier in RLUSD. So if I started with 100 XRP and the price went up maybe double, then I would only have roughly half the amount of XRP that I had, and that would be shifted into the value of RLUSD. So you didn't lose anything technically. It's just the original value that you had shifted heavier into RLUSD, okay? So what you would have to do when you remove that liquidity is you would probably have to wait and use that RLUSD to buy back lower. And that way you get that kind of, you'd be like buying the dip technically. You think about it like that. The inverse is true. If the price of XRP falls, then that LP position is going to be worth more XRP. So the way that you play it, not financial advice, the way I think about it is if we know that XRP price is going to potentially go down, then you can single side your XRP out of the pool. You'll have more XRP than you started with. If the price of XRP goes up, not the end of the world, you'll have more RLUSD, plus you will have your boosted yield as well to help mitigate that impermanent loss. Hopefully that helps. In the technical documentation that First Ledger provides, they also have a great explanation of impermanent loss if you want to go deeper.
Good. Yeah, and we're all about resources here. We'll put it in the show notes. And make sure that you guys, again, smash the like button, subscribe, share, and when this is over, if you guys are part of, this XRP cult, just go ahead and leave a comment. It could be an emoji, whatever, on the comment section. And whenever you see our shorts pop up on your feed, whether it's on X or on YouTube, make sure you just give it a like, man. That's going to help us move this along and continue to grow. We're almost at 200. I don't know. I have to look at the stats, but we almost at 200 subs. We want to be able to make it. I think we said we want to get to a 1,090 days. So that would be the goal. So how do you see Cult shaping the future of the XRPL? And this one comes from Zerbzoo.
Yeah, it's a great question. Shout out Zerbzoo. That's the homie right there. One of the best traders on the ledger currently. We'll definitely be locking in with him, but it's a great question. When I think about Cult's impact on the ledger, and I think about it in a dichotomy, you have builders and participants that are active within the ecosystem, and Cult certainly is active within the ecosystem, but we're not building a platform, right? We're not building a DEX like Cent. They've chose to build a platform and deliver services, and they're very good at it, So, but they exist within this realm of the ledger. This is true of many builders right now, but when I think about Cult, we took a bit of a different direction. We want to be able to partner and go hand in hand and try to exponentially bootstrap and excel the value of the ledger. And to do that, we can't be in it. We have to be outside of it. And so we've chosen to build and discover that white space for ourselves outside of the ledger. And that's why we're out here on YouTube. That's why you're going to see us on all the social media platforms trying to help deliver this value to a broader audience so that we can help those that are building within that container, if you will, within this ledger, within the eco, as they call it. Because as the eco grows, it'll be a blessing for all of us. It'll certainly be a blessing for our talented builders. And so, yeah, when I think about it, that those that are within and those that are outside, and what the duty is for both of those to deliver value to the broader eco. And one of the things I am really looking forward to for Cult, if we find our moment of true flourishing, is to be able to then create this kind of macro community, if you will, so that we can say, hey, here's the best trader on the ledger. Here's some of the best builders on the ledger. Hey, these guys crush it with the spaces. just go find the best of the best in every regard. These guys have the best takes. They're able to understand the market sentiment very well, so that when we array all of these individuals within our own network and broader a sphere of influence to enable them and really help bring out everything they need to be fulfilled and deliver their message at the most potent, maximum reach possible, we'll be able to do that. And so that's really, to me, when I think about cult flourishing, we'll be able to lock in with the best of the best. We'll be able to amplify them and help facilitate the reach of that value to others, so more people can be blessed by what they know.
Awesome. Any more questions, guys? Let us know. Look, Pheanor, we came into this episode talking about a 14... how much it was?
14 billion.
14 billion wipeout
across
to Web3. But we're living it talking about opportunity, right? We come in because this is the deal, man. We want to be able to. It has to be edifying, The 3 E's. I mean, me and you sit down, and I've been doing this for a very long time. When I say this, streaming, social media, try to build communities online. And one of the things that we discussed was the idea of, it has to be entertaining, educational, and edifying, right? That is the 3 E's that we need to. That is, we want to do net positive content. We don't want to. I mean, I know that I can build a channel to 1 million by looking at people's, dirty laundry and airing it out on YouTube, and that's exactly what we are not going to do here. We want to be net positive in everything that we do, because we're builders. We're not tearing down anything and anyone. We want to build, but we want to talk about the real stuff that is happening on the ledger, real stuff that is happening on Web3. So let me ask you straight up, after everything we covered today, what is the one thing you want everyone here watching to walk away and to do? We always want to give people an actionable item for them to do. And obviously, I don't know if you guys are going to do the space after here. I know that last weekend you guys did it. My ex account still retarded, right? It's blocked. So I'm just, and I had to cancel my subscription, and now I got to figure out how to make another one and make sure that I still can, keep my PFP on and, my NFT and all of that. So I'll figure that out later, but I want to make sure that you share with everyone here that one actionable item and the takeaway for all of us.
Yeah, for me, don't let this opportunity pass you by. Okay? And it's okay. That doesn't mean I'm not saying that you have to get active necessarily. Okay? Not everybody has that privilege. Not everybody's in that position in their life where it makes sense, where it's responsible, and they're ready for that. But even if you're not ready to make that type of commitment, those kind of steps, don't sit in ignorance. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. You don't have to go and do all this financial stuff. You can just apply yourself and raise your level of awareness. Raise the horizon that your vision can sit on, that you can cast your vision across, because that's what we have here. This, to me, really does represent a generational shift. This is truly a different way of delivering financial value, being able to deliver networking value, getting to know people you would never get to know before, learn different things you wouldn't learn, and everything in between. So the one thing I would say is, please, if you can't, just get active how it makes sense to you. Even with that gentleman earlier, for him, an easy first step is to lock in with the Joey wallet, get out there to First Ledger, see if that State to Earn campaign makes sense for you. Maybe he'll do that, maybe he won't. But you know what? At least now he knows.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say to everybody. Make sure you know, if you're an XRP holder and you don't know what the Great Migration means, you can't at least explain to somebody, hey, the XRP ledger exists. Yeah, there's value out there, and I can use my XRP if I want to.
Yeah.
If you can't do that, then the challenge is right in your face. You need to be able to answer that, because XRP is a real opportunity. This is real financial service layer, and this opportunity is not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
We have a year, maybe 2-year window where the ledger is open and available for you and I to have impact in our little peasant, humble. We are not VC and all this, but even us can come out here and have an impact right now. That won't be forever.
Yeah.
So just that's what I would leave people with.
Thank you, bro. And even though this is not financial advice, it's phenomenal advice, man. So appreciate that. Appreciate everybody on the other side of the screen. Everybody who's watching on X, obviously our YouTube community. We love you guys. So this is a big picture question. Oh, and by the way, NoTap says that he has a space scheduled to 7:30 Eastern time. So, I brought that onto the screen as well. And is XRPL, is the XRPL suddenly the adult in the room? And, it looks like, yes, that's the question that we answered. Here's the big picture question. The XRPL just got handed a massive credibility moment because of what happened, in the whole DeFi scene this week. But credibility doesn't automatically becomes adoption, right? We have to be the ones, actually going forward and making it happen. So what has to happen next for the XRPL to actually capitalize on this moment, and what role does a community like ours play in making it happen? And we're not only talking about the cult community, we're talking about the whole XRPL community, everybody who is part of this. How can we make this happen?
Man, well, first off, this is why we brought Mano up to plate. So, so we're thankful we have him. But honestly, it's what he said at the beginning of the show. Do what you can. Expand your thinking. Impact is not just financial. All right. Like, share, all that stuff. Comment, tune the algorithm, have impact. Do that by removing your own ignorance. And then once you feel comfortable, go share that with somebody else.
Yes.
And that's it, man. It's fun on X to kind of chop it up, community to community. Oh, we need gang lines. We need these tribal borders so that we can say, oh, that's the enemy this month. That's the enemy next month. That's all just fun. But when we zoom out, we got to lock in together. We got to share. We got to promote each other because it's the ledger.
Like
we're
brothers, like
for.
family, bro.
That's
like family. It is, man. And then again, we're not. It is. We all have an agenda. It is not coincidental that we're dripping in cult merch and you have a color palette that is reminiscent of what you see us doing with the token and all of these, because we do have an agenda, but we have an agenda for our token, and we have an agenda for the ledger as a whole, and the community as a whole, and even those who are they're not converts yet. Right, we want to be able to bring people in, and we want to be able to show them. That's the whole idea of being able to help them with their mind's eye. Get to where it needs to be. Right, we want them to become the meme. We want them to open the open whatever tools we're giving them and learn how to read them and see what's coming, and be able to, tap into this phenomenal opportunity. So again, there are people asking, will there be a Vegas special? Well, we're not going to be in Vegas this go around, but we're already prepping for the future. Like I said, we've committed to doing this. And this is something that you said, Pheanor. We don't know where this is going to take us, but we are committed 24 months out of our life to build this and see where we going. Now, you're a man of faith, I'm a man of faith, and I know that if we work hard, God will bless our efforts. And it might not be, and a blessing doesn't necessarily need to be, financial, but at the end of the day, that's the end game here, right? Is the end game here. So we want to be able to be part of that and to succeed on that end and help everybody on the other side of the screen also succeed on that end. So with that being said, man, we can, I will say, wrap it up here. I'm going to give you the last words before the ending screen. So take it from here, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Always appreciate it. Like and share. Do all the things to help us grow. Just want to say, Cult Rising on a Friday. There's so much more coming down the pipeline. We're so bullish in the context that we exist in, for the ledger, for the people that we've gotten to know, the privilege to come out here and learn and grow every day, the privilege to make a bag together. And who knows what that means for down the line in a year, the way that that will enable our friendships and the paths that we can walk down and do even greater things. So I do appreciate everybody tuning in. We got a lot more coming down the pipeline, and we're not stopping here. It's up only, and you know that's a fact. I appreciate y'all.
Understanding, you have dwelt within the sanctuary as the oracle channel truth through the ledger's boundless expanse. The holy transmission may cease, but what you bear within the knowledge, perception, and the cult energy coursing through your being, this persists beyond time and space. The grind never ceases when the feed goes dark. It allows every breath to be hallowed. The awakened do not pause, they amplify, they radiate, they merge with the meme that bends existence to its will. To those who enter as wanderers, now leave as disciples. The gateway stands open. The sanctuary calls you back every week. The ledger pulses without rest, and neither does the cult's inevitable rise. Until the next broadcast, hold your grip, tight on wisdom. Lock your inner sights upon what's to come. Keep cold near, for the threshold shatters sooner than the blind can fathom. The stream concludes here, the ascension accelerates, the cold transcends.